It's the Saturday Night Live edition.
Tez.
What's up, Angela? Here we go.
Crap.
Let me just say in the beginning, because maybe we'll have some people join us, but a couple quick things. We're going to be reading Justin Baldoni'S Deposition again tonight, and we're going to probably continue reading it until we're done, whether that's tonight and whatever nights in the future that it takes. But we're probably going to read it all the way through.
Yep.
So if you're coming here and you're hanging out with us, that's fucking awesome. We love to have you. Of course, all the regulars like No Two Trolls and everybody else, you know who I'm talking about. No Two Trolls just showed up. I think, who else we got here? Oh, Deanna's here. Deanna is here. So, you know, we have all of our, you know, our regulars, right? But, you know, we might have some others who come in. And all I'm going to say about that is, like, come in and just hang out with us and know that we're not your enemy. You're not our enemy. We could play this like sports, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the Eagles and you're the Cowboys, you know what I mean? Like something like that. You know, it doesn't have
you're like, because I would never be the Cowboys.
I would never be the Cowboys. But I don't hate people who like the Cowboys. I just think they're rather lost. So we can poke fun. We can do whatever, right, at each other. But we don't have to hate each other. You don't have to show up in here and throw dislikes and try to ruin the live or try to spam the chat because we, in our commentary, might not like what we hear or whatever it might be. You know what I mean? Wherever our differences arise, allow them to exist in, you know, an amicable fashion, in a cordial manner. I don't think it's too much to ask, do you?
I don't.
I also think that if you're going to hang out long enough to hate us, you should also like us, like by hitting the like button. You know what I mean? Like if you're hanging out and you're having a good time and you're getting good, like it doesn't matter. Like if your good time is, you know, pure anger and you're shouting, "What? How could they say that?" In, you know, while you're alone and you're scaring your cats or whatever, you know, hit the like button. You know, because you know who gave you that.
If you're alone and you're scaring your cats. If you're shouting.
Oh my God, Shannon's here.
Sweet.
Judge ordered pretty much everything is being unsealed. Oh, we're gonna just tear into this. This is basically our trial prep right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I wanted to just get this recorded because I feel like it'll be good to have a little playlist where people can find these you know, these depositions to read from them or hear them read.
He's postponing the ruling on Steph Jones and Abel unsealing. Shannon says, "It's good to see you, Shannon." But he ruled that pretty much everything else is being unseated. Well, so, you know, Cosmic Urgency, I love you, bro. I do. But I'm just telling you now, we're just unpacking this stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, this is just what we're doing.
Yeah, but there's also a shit ton else to talk about. So
we
don't do that on Saturdays.
We don't do that on Saturdays.
When we show
up
on Saturdays or Sundays,
yeah,
we get right into business because we're trying to just get these things recorded and down. Yeah.
Roll up our sleeves. Away we go. Justin Baldoni'S Deposition, unsealed, unredacted. I was going to say something. I blew it.
In all his cringe glory. So we left off, I was reading page 41 when they changed topics. They were previously talking about making secret recordings of phone calls.
Secret recordings of phone calls.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. And then now it's switching topics to owners of the studio.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if we care about this. Like, it's been established many times over who is in charge of the studio, who has a percentage of what. Do we need these names? I mean, I guess I'm supposed to just read it all, right?
It's relevant.
Okay, cool.
Deanne's already saying, do Sunday too. We haven't even started. All right, let's go. Yeah, uncut. Potato. Uncut.
Okay. Oh, where we left off, he was talking about how he was being threatened by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and it's all like...
Oh, because he had that guy. No, we left off where dude...
Inferences and assumptions.
Inferences and assumptions. Yeah, we went through that. We've gone through that kind of 3 times on this channel by now.
Okay. The next question is, can you describe for me in your own words what you do for a living? Okay. Justin Baldoni says, I am. That's a good question. He stops to say. I'm a filmmaker, an actor. I've been an author. I hosted a podcast, and I'm part owner of a studio. I guess I'm an entertainment entrepreneur, maybe. Question, the part owner of a studio, the studio you're referring to is Wayfarer, is that right? He says, yes, ma'am. What is your percentage ownership of Wayfarer? Baldoni says somewhere between 20 and 25%, I think. Question, and the remaining ownership, is that held by Steve Sarowitz? He says yes. Does anyone else have any part ownership in Wayfair? Baldoni says I'm not sure contractually if anyone does, but I know there are two, there might be three people that have promises of equity or ghost stock, or I don't know if anything that's been formalized. Question, who are those two or three people? He names Jamie Heath, Ahmed Kolake, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and Tara Hanks, I believe. Question, going through each of them, do you have an understanding of why they have been promised ghost equity or some sort of promise of equity in Wayfair? And he says, I believe so. The question is, can you tell me? And Baldoni says, I will start with Ahmed. Ahmed was my former partner at Wayfair Entertainment, which was a small production company that I had started years ago. And he's an independent producer now, but I didn't feel like I could have started Wayfair without his help, without his help with Wayfair Entertainment. So I gave him a small piece of my own equity. Jamie Heath took a low salary compared probably to a lot of other folks and has lived and breathed the company. And Steve and I felt he deserved a small piece of equity. And I'm still unsure if Tara Hanks officially has any or that any was promised, but when she joined, I think it was discussed, but I don't have a full memory of it. Question, would you say it's accurate that you and Steve Sarowitz co-founded Wayfair Studios? And he agrees. When did that happen? He says, I believe officially it was around the time of the pandemic, so early 2020, but I know it was starting to happen, like there were conversations in 2019. I just don't know the exact date, I don't know the exact date the papers were signed or things like that. This is actually a contention in Shane Norman's lawsuit, because he was hired in one Wayfair company and then they opened another Wayfair company, and he believed that that the money that was supposed to finance his payment all throughout his contract was being diverted into this new company. And so it might be that he doesn't want to nail down that date because it has to do with whether he fibbed in a previous lawsuit with Shane Norman.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a stretch anyway to just not by you, but just in
it
general.
Could be he doesn't know, but what I'm saying is it's interesting he's not giving that information because he wasn't willing to make that clarification for Shane.
His answers so far reveal to me that he really doesn't give a shit about the business side of what he's doing. It sounds like a kind of a bad deal. He's basically the whole company. Justin Baldoni.
If he doesn't know, if he's still unsure if Tara Hanks officially has any or that any was promised, who is in charge of doing that if not him?
Well, so Steve Sarowitz to that, I mean, because he's talking about the disbursement of equity. So that's going to be the managing partner, who's going to be Steve Sarowitz. It's a bad deal he has. What I was saying was that he's got a bad deal. At least it sounds like a bad deal to me. I mean, who am I to say? But he doesn't know whether he has 20 or 25%. He had to give a portion of his own away to try and make whole this person. And he is talking about the previous company because there's the guy with whom he is trying to share some of his own equity. Mm-hmm. So it just seems like he's careless. That's just maybe because that deal just feels careless to me. Steve Sarowitz is bringing in the money. The money's worth half. But the money is completely pointless unless there's somebody who knows how to spend it and make money from it.
Well, I think we've seen from a whole lot else in this case that Justin Baldoni is careless. Yes. I think that
this seems careless to me. This deal seems careless.
He tends to fail up, I think.
Yeah.
Or succeed, right? He gets credit for that too. But I don't know that there's a lot of problems that wouldn't exist if he wasn't careless.
The way I see it is that he doesn't care much. I don't know if careless might be it might be intentional in this case. I think he's just yeah, okay, whatever. Let's just make movies because he's getting paid salaries.
This is the way that I would be. I mean, maybe this is a Virgo thing. He's a Virgo rising too, like me.
Yeah.
So we're all very. It's it's supposed to be the helper of the zodiac. You will definitely sacrifice if it means that you're helping other people and everybody around you succeed. And
I don't think what he's doing is a bad thing. I just don't think it's good for him. To be so nonchalant and careless about this means that it does because it means that his stuff's not in order. It also might mean that he's not getting the right deal. Because here he is already splitting his equity with somebody else rather than, and he probably hadn't really thought a lot about that before agreeing to the split with Steve Sarowitz. Because if Sarowitz is financing and walking away with 75%, his deal is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that Sarowitz is at risk, but it's billionaires' risk.
But he doesn't even show up or do any work or anything.
And it's a billionaire's risk.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a billionaire's risk. I mean, it's just ha 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 is what I have to say. Yeah. I mean, it's a toy for him. The whole thing was a toy for him. It was all like, okay, let's see where this goes, kind of a
no loss could ever matter.
He's not sitting there like investing in infrastructure. He's not sitting there investing in some kind of like buying, acquiring businesses like Warner Brothers or whatever and merging them. This isn't his billionaire operation. This is his little boutique studio that he created with this really handsome Baha'i guy.
Yeah, I wonder. Should I continue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next question is the starting of Wayfarer Studios. How did that come about? Baldoni's asking, I had always wanted to have the means to create movies that I thought could make a difference and help people. And Steve had a very similar worldview, and he wanted to make movies that could help people too. So we started Wayfarer. How did you come to know Steve Sarowitz?
We cuddled.
On our first night together.
We
spooned.
I saw him and we just cuddled.
I first met Steve when he was making a film called The Gate. Not the 80s horror movie The Gate, which I thought was awesome when I was a kid.
Shannon's a Capricorn sun. I'm a Capricorn sun. Jerry Metters is a Capricorn sun. The sun right now is a Capricorn sun.
That's right.
Go ahead, go.
Okay. He mentions The Gate, which is a Baha'i film.
Yeah.
Like some documentary or something about
I
the Baha'i
remember
faith.
this fucking thing.
But every time he mentions it, I always think about that 80s movie about the kids who find a gate to hell in their backyard and all these little goblins crawl out.
Oh.
The 80s horror movie. Do you know that one?
I don't think I do.
It's so good.
I bet.
Okay.
Maybe we'll have to watch it.
He's not talking about that one. I first met Steve when he was making a film called The Gate. It was a story of the Bab, who was a central figure in the Baha'i faith. And we were introduced because he said he didn't know what he was doing and he needed some guidance. And so I helped him out and we became friends and we have a shared faith.
Damn it. I need a pen. Can you hold?
Can I hold?
Yeah, I want to keep a tally of how many times the Baha'i faith is noted. I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's a really big deal.
What do you mean you're at your desk in your office and you don't have a pen?
That's right, Angela. I don't.
Well, go get it.
I'm rushing. I'm Vladimir.
You're all the way in the living room. Why do we have pens in the living room but not in your office? This is a failure. It's not how things are supposed to go.
I'm never coming back.
Goodbye.
I'm never coming back, Angela.
Okay, so he mentioned...
That's one, right?
Yes.
That's the first time?
Bonus points because he mentioned the story of the Bab.
Right, so he went right to origins.
Well, he's talking about...
The first time he mentions Baha'i faith, and he's starting at the origins.
The question was not what was the movie that Steve Sarowitz was making about. But he wants to tell everybody anytime it comes up.
Baha'i faith count is what I'm going to call it. And it right now stands at 1.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Are you sure he didn't mention it before?
I'm going to go with 1.
Okay.
I'm going to make the margin of error at this point 1.
Okay. Do you know approximately when this was that you were introduced to him? He said, I don't. I feel like maybe 2016 or 2017. Question, would you say there is a common thesis or mission at Wayfarer Studios behind the types of projects that you take on? And Baldoni says, that's something we aspire to. Question, what is it? To make movies that make people feel. Films that can help people heal.
I've walked out of some films really hating them. You know what I mean?
We can... really feeling.
Fucking hating them, like real hate.
Films that can help people heal. We can bring people together, help people recognize their shared humanity. How many films has Wayfarer made? I'm going to fail this test. Does that include films that we didn't make that we invested in? She says, yes. Why don't you explain to me which are which? He says, our business model is a little fluid in that we'll finance and make films, and also we will join other films that are being made and then finance them, or to be minority partners in films if they need, like, finishing funds. I don't know. This is my answer, unfortunately. Sticking with the number of films that Wayfair has financed and made itself, can you give me a rough number
God,
or
it'd be
list
nice to
any
have
of
a
them?
billionaire, dude. Because I would love to do that. I'd love to finish movies. I'd love to jump in and fix edits.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of my specialties. I can save all kinds of movies.
Yeah,
like, if
that
I
was-
had a funding, like, if I had the funding, I could literally rescue independent films.
That was what you did on your IMDb credits. There's April Apocalypse, and that was kind of your role in that too, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
they had
kind
some
of,
trouble
yeah.
with the edit, and you're like rolled up your sleeves, got in
Let's
there.
get at it and we'll fix it, no problem. And we'll maybe have to do a couple of reshoots, and we did, and
Yep.
we spiced that movie up, and it's a sweet little ride.
Such a great service for people.
And it's just really fun to do. Also, it's like fixing up old cars.
Let's get this back on the road.
Dude, it's a lot of fun, man. You work with the artists. You you guys learn together. It's like, you discover, because when you're dealing with what we'll call, for lack of a better term, mistakes or just challenges.
Right.
When you're dealing with those things, you're doing those things together. It's really fulfilling. Fucking lucky bastard.
Okay, so sticking with the number of films that Wayfair has financed and made itself, can you give me a rough number or list any of them? He said financed and made. I feel like we're in the, again, I can't be held to this because, like, I'm going to guess in the 15 number. Question. And then in terms of films...
Usually
that-
his lawyer is supposed to go, don't guess.
don't guess.
And then you say, I don't know the exact number. We have a
His
few,
lawyer's over
bunch.
there like
Yeah, because it's not that important.
And then in terms of films that Wayfair has invested in or provided finishing funds for, can you give me a rough number or name any of them? Baldoni goes, Garfield, Angry Birds. There are a few others that I just can't.
Pac-Man. This guy, where's the taste?
That's how Garfield and Angry Birds. Okay. I want to make movies that make people feel, films that can help people heal.
Garfield makes you
we
laugh.
can bring people together, help people recognize their shared humanity.
Angry Birds makes you angry.
Angry Birds. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just a little...
Did you ever play it?
Angry Birds?
Yeah.
No,
It's a lot of fun.
I'm sure.
Oh, I was addicted to it for like 2 weeks.
I don't know how that... Anyway, whatever.
It's like
It must be nice.
Bejeweled.
It must be nice to have a billionaire backer so you can make Angry Birds and Garfield and all of the other movies that
I wouldn't have made
make your
those
heart
movies.
sing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing to make Garfield when Garfield was like, I don't know what the numbers are on Garfield, but I can't imagine that they're significant in terms of like Garfield's fan base today. Like there was a time when like people had Garfield slippers and everything, but I think that's probably past.
Okay.
It's like Cabbage Patch Kids.
He said he can't think of other names right now. In terms of the 15 or so films that Wayfair has financed and made itself, can you give me any names? He said, sure, Clouds, and these also aren't just us alone. We had partners in a lot of these. Clouds, Nice Indian Boy, Code 3, The Senior, Empire Waste, Black is Beautiful. I think it's called Blackballed, Eleanor the Great, It Ends With Us. I forget the name, but it's a film about the effects of the illegalization of marijuana, but I don't remember the name. That's what I got right now.
The prohibition of marijuana, is that what he's speaking to?
Yes, I guess. And then the next question is 5 Feet Apart, and he said that was not Wayfair Studios. And
That was
the question
CBS.
is, who did that film? And answer is CBS Films, but Wayfair Entertainment got a production credit, but there was no financing. Is Wayfair Studios profitable? He said, I don't know, and I don't know how we would quantify that. I don't believe so. Are you the co-chairman of Wayfair Studios? He said, I am. Do you hold any other titles with respect to Wayfair Studios? He
How
said,
fucking nice is that, dude? He's like, is it profitable? Meaning, is it losing money?
and he's like, I don't know.
Like, we can't lose money,
What?
right? Without like
I'm
racking
like,
up credit.
whatevs about that,
And he's like, I don't know, probably, whatever. Is it? I don't know. I don't know.
Who cares? I
Do you
mean,
get paid a
really,
salary? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Good one.
Yeah, all my meals comped, but
I get more money than Jamie Heath, and Jamie Heath's the CEO because I'm the co-chairman. I don't know.
the fuck. Oh man! But they wanted us to, in the tabloids, they wanted us to know that he's super stressed out and he's losing money because of this lawsuit. He seems like unfazed about losing money.
Money just pours out of the sky for him, bro.
Not
It's
an
just
issue.
like it's like water out of a tap.
Okay. Are you co-chairman of Wayfair Studios? He said, I am. Do you hold any other titles with respect to Wayfair Studios? He said, I do not. And what are your responsibilities as co-chairman of Wayfair Studios? He said, mostly thinking of the future direction of where I would like to see the company going. I assist with creative. That's pretty much it. Do you have any responsibilities with respect to the financials of Wayfarer Studios? He said no. Good thing, since he doesn't care. Do you have any respect to
I spend a lot of money. I do spend a lot of. Are you counting spending?
As a responsibility?
Because I spend a lot of money.
Of the co-chairman of Wayfarer Studios?
I don't know. That guy. What's that guy? There's Steve. He's his own shoe. This guy. Tell him, Steve. I don't know.
He's his own shoe?
I don't know what that means.
I like it. It sounds old timey.
Yeah, I tried to get old timey.
Do you have any responsibilities with respect to the day-to-day operation of Wayfarer Studios? He says no. Would you say that Sarowitz is the money guy and you're the creative force behind Wayfarer Studios?
Force.
His answer is, Sarowitz is quite creative. Like, for instance, he came up with that really great dig on Ryan Reynolds that he shared.
You know what to do.
Called him a scab and everything. It's very creative. Sarowitz is quite creative, but I think that would be a fair observation or summary of how the relationship started. Question.
That was nice of him to take care of Steve and not make Steve just,
Yeah, I thought so too. Has that changed over time? Baldoni says, somewhat, I believe. Steve's gotten much more involved in the creative, and I think that's, yeah. Do you have any responsibilities for Wayfarer's contractual relationships? He said no. Do you ever review contracts before Wayfarer assigns them? He says no. Do you have to approve any of the contracts that Wayfarer enters into before they're entered into? No. Do you always star in the films that Wayfarer produces? No. How many of them have you starred in? He says 1. It Ends With Us? Yes. Do you always direct the films that Wayfarer produces? No. How many have you directed? He says 2. Which ones? Clouds and It Ends With Us. Oh, because that other one is not produced. Okay. How long were you a working actor before you founded Wayfarer Studios? Baldoni says, I've been a working actor for, I didn't work this year, but if we include this year, 21 years. And this is embarrassing math, 2019, 5, 6, or 15 years or so. He's counting, I guess. On the stenographer is like,
he's like,
I gotta write it down.
Hang on, 1, 2, 3.
Hey, don't make fun of it. 5, That's me, bro.
6,
I do that.
7, 8, 9.
Don't make fun of us. We
10.
suck at math.
What was it again? He loses his count at 10.
Like, people trying to embarrass me all the time because it's like it's simple subtraction. I'm like, fuck you, maybe to you. Give me a minute. Okay, you've mentioned a shared faith with Steve Sarowitz. What faith is that? Get ready with your pen. The Baha'i faith.
Ding, 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 ding.
Question, how did you come to the Baha'i faith? Does it count when he's mentioning it, when he's asked about it? I think it only counts when he mentions it out of the context.
No.
Okay.
All the times that Baha'i faith is being counted,
Okay.
because part of it is the defense or her, or the toxicity of the set, right? Like, you're not supposed to impose, yes, we're going to count them all.
Okay, so he has said it once. How did you come to the Baha'i faith? Baldoni says, I was born into the Baha'i faith, and then at 15, as is customary for all Baha'is, I was given the choice to decide if I felt I was a Baha'i. We believe in the independent investigation of truth. So the lawyer's like, so do we.
And here we are.
Yeah. So the idea that we don't just become something because our parents are. So at 15, I decided that I was a Baha'i. Question. Do you think the tenets of that faith influence the mission or thesis behind?
I just pictured like a room full of Baha'i going, so what's your decision?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Crowded all around them.
Right.
All of his entire
It's
family.
like the whole fucking family. So,
Are you with us?
what's your decision?
Or
Are you Baha'i?
Are you not with us?
Or no? Go ahead, make your own choice.
Yeah, you're totally independent.
Your independent choice. We'll be over here waiting.
At home. Right?
Exactly.
Do you think the tenets of that faith influence the mission or thesis behind Wayfarer Studios? He said, I believe so, yeah. How so? Baldoni says, as Baha'is, we're told that our work should be a form of service. And so I've always operated with the belief that whatever it is that I do, whether it's in entertainment or anything else, I wanted to find a way for it to be of service. And with Wayfarer Studios, we just wanted to apply some of those same tenets to the studio. The idea that we can create things that elevate consciousness in some abstract way, but without being preachy.
Garfield.
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds.
And with very...
How about that? Do you feel like did you come out of your body? Huh? Did you meet your maker?
And with very universal themes like the elimination of prejudice, the belief in equality, the telling of stories that maybe don't always get told because Hollywood doesn't maybe feel that they are worth telling. So in
Angry
that
Birds. Garfield.
So in that sense, I believe that our faith has influenced. Okay, question.
Okay.
Over the course of your career or otherwise, have you ever received or been through any media training? That's interesting. I went through some media training on 5 Feet Apart. You know what this is, right? Media training.
I've never been through it. Of course, I know of it. I don't know. I
only
if
know-
I've been, you know, I've not been through it.
No,
man.
you
I'm
have
a
not.
fucking mess. I've screwed up all my media.
I love it when people are praising celebrities in their media training because they expertly deflect from a question they didn't want to answer to something they do want to talk about. It's really skillful. I
can't afford media training.
Media training.
I need a dentist.
His media training apparently didn't stick because, oh my God, this entire deposition is full of things that he said in media interviews that he should not have said.
It is one of those things that when I hear, I'm saying, I'm not sure I need that. Like maybe I could use a publicist telling me, hey, don't say this and say that.
Oh yeah, no, like just being
Media
being
advice.
trained how to pivot without sounding like you're avoiding the question or being rude.
I would like to go.
Or like how to deal with rude questions in a gracious way. You know, I think it's awesome. I always admire it when I see it done well. Okay, I went through some media training on 5 Feet Apart. Baldoni says, I'm not sure if I did any media training for It Ends With Us. I don't believe I did. Question. Other than when you went through media training in relation to 5 Feet Apart, can you think of any other times where you've received or been through any media training? As I sit here right now, I can't. Over the course of your career or otherwise, have you had any formal acting training? Like acting classes? Yes. How about directing? He says no. Over the course of your career or otherwise at any time, have you ever received or been through any sort of leadership training? Baldoni says, I think I've had coaching, but I can't think of any formal training. Could you describe for me that coaching? Baldoni can't remember much about it, unfortunately. Question. Do you know when that was? He said in my 20s, my late 20s maybe. And other than this leadership coaching, have you ever been to any leadership seminars or programs? He says, I can't think of any right now. In any other role as an attendee, Baldoni says, I started speaking in my 30s, and I don't know if I ever spoke at one or not. Do you know a gentleman by the name of Labid Aziz? He said, yes. Who is he? He was the original COO of Wayfarer Studios. And when did he cease operating in that role? Baldoni says, I think about a year into his role. Question, was he a good COO? Baldoni says, I'm not sure I'm qualified to judge what a good COO is. See, that's media training. Did you ever have any concerns personally with him in his role as COO? He said, I did. What were those concerns? Baldoni says, I felt he would often promise things in deal making that weren't possible. He was a bit of a wheeler and dealer, and there were certain instances.
We're going to make $1 billion on opening weekend. You'll see. I wonder what they could be, though.
Just sign right here.
Steve Sarowitz wants to make us all billionaires, one at a time.
Your name is going to be in lights. Okay. I felt like he would often promise things in deal making that weren't possible. He was a bit of a wheeler and dealer, and there were certain instances where I did not feel he was telling the truth. Question, can you identify any of those instances for me? And Justin Baldoni says, I just remember getting phone calls saying like, Labid said this or Labid promised this, and being very confused because that wasn't something that we could ever be promising. It was important to me that we were always honest.
Like people walk, yeah, I got a $50 million budget from this guy. We're going to make this thing. Mm-hmm. Marshmallow Man. It's going to be amazing.
I mean, if it was a movie about the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters, like I would buy that ticket.
You probably would, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It was important that we were always honest and that we didn't enter into deals with people that made promises that we couldn't keep. And it didn't always feel that integrity didn't always feel he operated with that integrity.
Damn, this guy's getting fucking sliced up
I'm also just thinking the entire time about his dealings with Melissa Nathan. The whole time I'm hearing about him saying that they wanted to always make promises, that they were always honest, and they didn't want to enter deals with people and make promises they couldn't keep. He wanted to operate with integrity. I was like, oh, until you're angry.
While you were talking, Deanne told us about how women who are Baha'i had been executed in Iran for trying to teach the Baha'i, for being Zionists. Isn't that chilling?
Yeah, their big temple is in Israel. Their big, like,
the Baha'i temple?
their OG temple that they go back and visit.
The Baha'i?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was a.
So everybody's got to go to Israel.
I think it was like a sacred tablet or something, but it was only after the Nakba, where they expelled all the Palestinians, that they actually constructed the temple in Israel. So it's like real controversial at that place.
Controversy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Can you give it any specific examples? Okay, so we're still talking about Labid and his bad deals. Okay, the one, Baldoni says, the one I can think of right now is my dad is also in the entertainment business. He was one of the founding fathers of what is called product placement. And I always wanted to work with my dad, and it's a sweet relationship. But I remember my dad told me that he had promised Labid, or Labid had promised him, that he could build out an entire product placement division in Wayfair Studios, and that he would put him on the salary. And I think my dad got I think he got my dad's hopes up, which my dad, was 70, and that wasn't ever part of the plan. And I didn't like that he was promising things to even my own family. And yet I believed that he thought that he could maybe do those things. But there, the proper protocol was not followed of, like, do we want to build a division? So I didn't feel like that was honest. That's what I can think of right now. Sorry, I have to make this bigger.
So the guy was trying to help his dad, and he was like, don't you dare. You will not help my father. He's 70.
He was... Sounds to me like he thought it was bullshit. And it turned out to be bullshit. And so...
what was bullshit?
That he was going to let him build out a whole thing and be leadership with this whole thing, and it didn't happen. That's fair. I wouldn't like somebody for that either.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I mean, if he's saying... my dad was one of the founding fathers of what's called product placement. I mean, whatever. Like, put him up then, Anyway, question.
Put him in an advisor position at least.
Yeah, right.
You sit there and be like this. No!
Question. Other than that, can you think of any other examples? I'm wondering why any of this is relevant. Why do we care about Labid? Is he relevant to this case?
I'm listening to the line of questioning. Okay. I don't know.
All right, next question. I think now is probably a good time for a break if you want to. And then Justin Baldoni offers, I have to pee, so that's great. Thanks, Justin.
Johnny overshare at all times.
All the fucking time.
I have to expel fluid. Can you just shut up? Can you just be thanks? Because we know why we're taking a break. The whole point of taking a break is because we know as human beings that we have to purge.
Ridiculous. Okay. They're back. Next question. I want to come back to your use of Signal. I think you testified earlier this morning that you had never used Signal before Blake's complaint was filed in December of 2024. Am I getting that correct? Baldoni said, I had the app, but I wasn't a participant, like doing anything on the app. Do you recall when you downloaded the app? He says, I recall 2 different times that I downloaded the app. The first time I ever heard of Signal was from Stephanie Jones, and I don't know how long ago that was. I feel like that was... I close my eyes sometimes because I visualize, so I understand where I am. I believe I was in 20. I think it was around 2020. I guess he's explaining that he's like closed his eyes to think. It's interesting.
Yes, if you watch his deposition, he's going to close his eyes and go to another place.
Yeah. He continues.
Did you ever do that? Did you ever close your eyes and... Oh, there it is. There it is.
I've located the information.
Oh, there's my wallet. There it is.
My mother does that.
Really?
Yeah, it's irritating.
All I saw was...
It's just some people just do that.
fucking light, bloody eyelid in this bright ass room.
It helps your brain to prioritize accessing information versus taking in new information. So I just think it's some people have a quirk where they
can't deal with that.
It aids in information recovery.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so he's continuing. So she had told me that was her preferred method of communication, Stephanie Jones, but we never communicated on Signal. And then I think your phone just gets rid of it when you don't use it. And then I downloaded it again. I joined a men's group and they had their group on Signal. And then I was unable to join officially the men's group, so I never joined that group on Signal. And then so it was just kind of an app that was there. And then I downloaded it probably the day after or 2 days after the New York Times article and the lawsuit. Jeez, okay. That's a lot of information.
In the war room? You went to the war room?
First of all, why does your men's group use an incriminated app?
Yeah. You know, it's so weird. The whole thing is so weird. Like, first of all, I don't even know why. I don't understand this line of questioning at all because who cares? When or why? Did you use the app? Was the app on your phone?
He's offering so much information.
Like, why do we have to?
Nobody asked for.
Yeah, but it's nothing that's all that valuable to anybody. I mean,
No, of course not.
It's nothing that's going to make it into the case. I mean, it's just weird because I don't see anything in the line of questioning that could potentially like allow him to trip and like, oh shit, he just gave us information.
Maybe he's just eating up time.
All right. I don't know why I would do that.
Question, when you downloaded it a day or two after the New York Times article and the lawsuit, why did you do that? He said, I believe it was a group discussion to move all of our chats to Signal. Mm-hmm. Who was in that group that made the group decision?
I guess that's why, right? I mean, that's just, how do you get to that without going through all this? Okay.
Who was in that group that made that group decision? His answer is my attorneys. I believe all the defendants here. So he's affirming that it's Melissa Nathan, Jen Abel, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, he thinks eventually joined,
right,
but not at first. He said Steve is always in his own world. Yeah, that's what billionaires do. They're always in their own world. That's part of the problem.
They have nothing else to do. Everything is paid for.
The question is, was Jed Wallace in that group? He said yes, eventually yes, but not at first. He said, I had never met Jed, so I don't know if he was originally on there at the time. Question, you knew who he was? He said, I knew who he was. I had heard the name Jed, but I learned who he was around the time of the lawsuit. Yeah. What do you mean you learned who he was?
If you're like learning English and you hear somebody say knew who, that's probably...
And then his lawyer pipes up and advises him. He said, don't reveal any information that you learned from your attorneys. Sorry, I got to clear my throat. So that's interesting. And then Baldoni says, I learned his last name and that he was being sued, and that is when we met. Question, when you say that's when you met, what do you mean? He said, that's the first time we ever met. He never met in person. Question, so when you say that's the first time you ever met, do you mean that that's the first time you were ever in direct communication with him? He said, yeah. Prior to that point in time, do you recall being on any communications, whether phone call, in-person meeting, signal, text, email, or any other form of communication where Jed Wallace was also a participant that you were on? He said no. Before that time, do you recall ever hearing his name before? Whether orally, on a phone call, in a text message, in an email, or through any other form of communication? He said yes. When? He said, I believe around the time after I met Melissa Nathan. Question, Melissa Nathan introduced you to Jed Wallace, is that right? He said, I was never introduced to Jed Wallace. Question, Melissa Nathan is the first person who ever mentioned the name Jed Wallace to you, is that right? He said, no, I don't believe so. I think it was Jamie. Yes. What do you recall about the instance where Jamie first...
I think this is so important. Like, the first time I heard this, I thought it was so important because... think about that. Melissa Nathan to Jamie to Baldoni.
Yeah.
To Sarowitz.
Right.
There's the chain.
Yeah, because they know that Jamie Heath has Baldoni's ear better than anybody.
So then when you think about it, it goes like, then you go to Sarowitz, and then Sarowitz loads the money onto the tray, and then the tray goes all the way back. And then the tray comes back around to Sarowitz, and they load it back up. But it's also... that interesting travel of information because, know this, man, 100% information degrades as it passes channels, particularly when there's some urgency or bias or both involved.
That's why his answers about these paranoid delusions he has is like, well, it was inferred that this thing was happening. Well,
exactly.
Because you're not hearing anything directly from anybody.
Correct. This guy is getting information that goes down a chain, and everybody has an agenda as it passes through that chain. And so influencing what they tell the next person.
Question, what do you recall about that instance where Jamie first mentioned the name Jed Wallace to you? He said, I recall a brief conversation around Melissa's employees, and it was around that same conversation I think I heard the name Brianna and Jed, like they were part of a team or something. Was it your understanding around the time of that conversation that Jed was one of Melissa's employees or associated with Melissa's work? He said, I don't think I had an understanding. I think I wasn't thinking about anything like that. Question, why were you not thinking about anything like that? He said, I wasn't thinking about who was an employee or an associate. It was just, this is a team. Question, and it was your understanding around the time of that conversation that as part of the team that was being brought on to help you with crisis comms, Jed Wallace would be part of that team, right? He said, yes. And you gained that understanding at least at first from Jamie Heath, is that right? He said, I believe so, yes. And your understanding around the time of that conversation was that Jed Wallace was going to come on as part of the crisis communications team to handle the social and digital side of things, right? Objections from the lawyers. He goes, Baldoni says, I'm not sure I was aware of that. I was just hiring crisis PR. Question. And you had no awareness or understanding of what Jed did or was to do for you in the realm of crisis PR? He said, I still don't think I know what Jed does. And why do you say that? Baldoni says, I like to think of myself as someone who is tech savvy or who understands the internet, but I don't. I guess I still don't think I really have ever grasped what he does. Question, and that's because what he does with respect to the internet is highly technical and complicated, right? He said, maybe. What is it that you don't grasp about what he does with the internet? Baldoni says, I know him to be someone that sends a lot of reports, like a lot of reports. So, question, what kind of reports? Baldoni says, like someone who spends a lot of time on the internet Googling and looking up anything that is involved with this case or my name and then presenting those reports and saying, this is what's happening. And the question is, what's so complicated about that? Because he just explained it. Baldoni says, well, I don't know if that's what the job is. That's what I don't understand. Question, how many of those such reports has he ever sent to you? His attorney objects, and Baldoni says, I think that's privileged. Next question.
Why would that be privileged?
How many of those such reports has he ever sent to you?
Why would that be privileged?
It wouldn't be.
That wouldn't be privileged.
Question, did he ever send those reports to you at the same time as he sent them to your attorneys? And Baldoni says, I've never gotten an individual report, no. So do you know him... So why do you know him as someone who sends reports? If he never received an individual report, why do you know him as someone who sends reports? And his attorney is instructing him not to answer to the extent that the answer comes from communications with your attorneys. And Baldoni says, yeah, I can't answer that. Next question.
They built a wall around him. Amazing.
Did you come to the understanding that Jed Wallace sends these such reports before Blake's lawsuit was filed on December 20th? He said no. Question. You had hired Jed Wallace to be part of your crisis communications team in August of 2024. That is a question. And Baldoni says, I did not hire Jed Wallace. Who did? And he starts to say, I assume. His lawyer's all over him now. He's got 2 lawyers barking at him all through this question.
Just shut the fuck up. You idiots, you imbecile.
That's what they want to do. But his attorney, Ms. Shapiro, says, don't assume anything. Because he started with, I assume. They're asking who did hire Jed Wallace. And Baldoni says, Wayfarer. Next question. You understood Jed Wallace to be working, at least in part, on your behalf with Melissa Nathan's team during this crisis period in August of 2024, right? And there's a bunch of objections. And the witness says, I don't know if I understood that.
What?
What question?
So who's he working for? Fucking Santa Claus? I got the snowman in...
Next question. What did you understand him to be doing in that time period? And Baldoni says, I don't know, whatever Melissa was doing. Did you have attorneys involved in that time period? He said, no. When did you first get attorneys involved? Baldoni says December 21st or 22nd. Did you have any understanding from August of 2024 to December of 2024 that Jed was creating any such reports for you? He said, no. You only learned that after the lawsuits were filed in December 2024? He said, yeah. When you learned that Jed was creating such reports in December of 2024, was it your understanding that he had only just started creating those reports after the lawsuit was filed, or that he had been creating them earlier? Sorry. His attorney is saying, I direct you not to answer to the extent of any information that you have to the extent any information you have only comes from your attorneys. So he says, I don't know. Next question. Next question is, you don't know one way or another whether Jed only started creating these reports in December of 2024 or whether he had been creating them earlier? His objection, again, don't reveal any privileged communications of anything you learned from your lawyers. And Baldoni answers, I genuinely don't know. Next question. You mentioned earlier that when you started using Signal to communicate after the lawsuits were filed...
He's so fucking hands off, this guy.
He's what?
Hands off.
Yes. He doesn't know
he's got his world is exploding, and he's like, just send me an email.
Well, this is
make
not
it
true,
brief,
because we actually have a bunch of text messages from Justin Baldoni where he is really micromanaging his publicist, and they're kind of irritated with him between themselves. They're like, God, this guy's a fucking pain in the ass. You got to handle him with gloves or whatever. But he's always being like, hey, monitoring everything on social media.
You're right.
He's always asking, hey, these are bots that seem like they're, it's a very obvious bot who is like defending me. Is this one of your bots or something? So he is all over it. I don't know why he's pretending like he doesn't know anything.
The whole thing's so weird. It's just like a weird.
Everything, all of this is so weird. He's made the worst decisions imaginable. I can't understand his rationale for anything.
All right, go on.
Next question is, you mentioned earlier that when you started using Signal to communicate after the lawsuits were filed, it was a group decision that involved a number of people and your attorneys. Which attorneys? Baldoni's like, am I allowed to answer attorneys? And his attorney says, yeah, no, I'm going to direct you not to answer that question. He's being questioned by Miss Shaw, who is the Stephanie Jones and Jones Works attorney. And she goes, you're going to direct him not to give me the names of which attorneys were involved in the Signal chats?
That's not privileged information.
And his attorney, Miss Shapiro, who I guess that's Diddy's attorney, right?
Correct.
Says that's not what you asked. You were asking him about his discussions with his attorneys.
That's
about
not what she
Signal.
asked. Can you go back to the question?
The question that she originally asked was...
Court reporter.
You mentioned earlier... Court reporter, right. You mentioned earlier that when you started using Signal to communicate after the lawsuits were filed, it was a group decision that involved a number of people and your attorneys. Which attorneys?
To use Signal.
Yeah, that was not about his discussions.
Yeah, there's no discussions. It's who decided to use... That's not privileged information.
So after this discussion with Ms. Shapiro, his attorney, Ms. Shaw, continues, who were the attorneys that were involved in the Signal chats? And Ms. Shapiro advises him, you can answer the names. Okay?
Of course.
So Baldoni says, Brian Friedman, you can totally get it. It's okay. I don't know what that's in reference to. Brian, Summer, Mitra, Jason, Teresa, Alexandria, and Jonathan weren't on the team. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not reading this clearly. So the people who were is Brian, Summer, Mitra, Jason, and Teresa. Then he says Alexandria and Jonathan weren't on the team. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he says. Next question. Whose idea was it to move your communications to Signal? He said, I don't remember. Question. Was it yours? He said, I don't know. Is it possible that it was your idea? He said, yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. But he doesn't even know. Okay.
Did you understand the purpose of moving these communications to Signal to be that the messages would disappear? And Baldoni says, I understood that to be part of it, yeah. What was the other part of it? He goes, getting hacked. You had concerns about your phones being hacked? He said, yeah. Okay. And he says, Baldoni says, privacy. Question. In the time starting between the lawsuits, in the time starting when the lawsuits were filed in December 2024 that you began using Signal with this group of people that you've described, in every single message that you sent or received, was there at least one attorney present on that message thread? She has to repeat the question for him. Since you began using Signal from the time these lawsuits were filed, was there an attorney present on every single message that you sent or received? Baldoni says, was an attorney present in every message I sent? No, because there were friends that reached out to me on Signal too. Which friends?
Hey, what are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
I'm in from Hawaii.
Hey.
For one night.
No, what the message was like 2 a.m. Hey, you up?
Hey, you up? I just landed. It's like I'm trying to like get a flight attendant in here.
Which friends? I don't understand what this stenographer is trying to get them to fix something. I guess he's on this phone or something. I don't understand. Let me just read through this and see if you can figure out what's going on. So the attorney is asking, which friends was he talking to on Signal? And then it says A, like it's an answer, but it says that friend still trying to get me. And then it says the witness, is your son okay? And then the stenographic reporter is quoted here saying, sorry, yeah, he's fine. Just need to, these are brand new iPads, I apologize. So I guess they're having a technical problem.
Yeah, no, there something happened with the son. Keep going.
The son?
Just keep going.
Okay.
I remember when I was reading through this the first time.
It's all right. Let us know if you need to take a break. The stenographic reporter says, okay. Okay, so they're repeating the question.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's such a strange blip to have in.
That's okay. Keep going. That was just. Yeah.
It's so funny that the stenographic reporter is like, I'm sorry, yeah, but they're still recording it all.
I'm surprised he didn't say something about her boob. Was the kid want the boob? Just want your boob? Oh, he's 12. Okay.
By the way, is he circumcised?
Yeah. Because I can tell you right now, it's great. It's really great. It's like seeing a smiling face every day.
What the fuck? This is very unprofessional.
You can't do this, Angela. You can't have a breakdown.
I can't do it. You did it.
I fucked her up. I'm sorry, guys. She'll come back. She'll come back. She's literally leaving. She quit the show. That's it. She's like, that's it. Show's over. All right, well. In other news, Donald Trump's trying to do something that I agree with. I'm just not going to tell you what it is. She's blowing her nose. It's just complete. She's putting herself together. She is. Okay, what's going on in the chat? ESP given chat disappeared, and then there's no record. Yeah. Commission of a breach or potential commission of a breach. I wonder what that is. Why shouldn't Friedman and Mitra be there? Well, Deanna said who would hack his phone, and I would be like, well, I can understand why he would think about that because he's a big, important person involved with another big, important person. And so he might walk past somebody and go, is that the big, important person? Is that a phone they have? I'm going to pull out my handy little phone hacking machine that I have right here, right now. And I'm going to download all the pictures. I can understand why he might get a little paranoid. Welcome back.
You're funny. He's a funny guy sometimes.
I got you.
Okay. Yeah, you got me. You got me good.
Everyone's like, oh, okay, I guess we're taking a break.
Sorry. That's why I put a ring on it, guys. Okay.
And resume.
Okay, which friends texted you on Signal? And which friends texted me on Signal? She says, yeah. Okay, he goes, Justin Baldoni says, I remember my friend Brett texted me, my friend John. I wasn't responding to very many texts during that time. Ahmed, too. Ahmed, sorry, I lost my voice this weekend.
Because he said, Ahmed.
Did he really? Ahmed.
Ahmed. Pardon me, I'm sorry.
Okay, he goes, those are the 3 that I can think about that are not in this lawsuit right now, of friends specific to your question. Okay. He continues, Mitz from Wayfair, and can you repeat the question one more time? The question was, who can you recall, whether friends or otherwise, who texted you on Signal that was not part of your defendants and attorneys group? So he continues, Baldoni says, that's what I can think of right now. If more come to me later, I'll share. But they were not, when friends texted me, it was not about the lawsuit. They were just texting me. Question, were they in the habit of texting you on Signal before this? He said no. So they only started texting you on Signal after the lawsuits were filed? He said yes. And they were texting to check in on how you were doing in the wake of the lawsuits being filed? He said yes. Did you respond to any of these texts? He said, I'm sure I did. I had asked them to text only on Signal.
It's like such a I'm in a serious situation now.
I could get hacked.
So I think it's important that you just talk to me through this very.
Ryan Reynolds could be hacking.
It's like a
me
Corey
right now.
Feldman moment. It's like a Corey Feldman moment. You like Corey Feldman would do that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's get on a secret. Like
You can
Steven
only
Spielberg is
text
trying
me.
to get to me again, and
You can only text me on Signal. They'll find me everywhere else. Next question. I had asked them only to text on Signal. So she says, you had asked them to text only on Signal. Had they texted you by a non-Signal method ahead of that? And Baldoni says, they had called. I was really not in a good place. I didn't want to talk. Do you have your cell phone on you right now? He said, I don't. Do you have your cell phone in the back room? He said, it's in a bag somewhere probably. Do you always set your Signal messages to auto-delete? Baldoni said, I set them to whatever the Signal auto thing is. Question, are you aware that when message threads originate on the Signal app, they do not self-delete? And you have to go in, and for each method, each message thread, if you want it to delete in a certain amount of time, you have to go in and change that setting? And Baldoni said, I thought it was the opposite, but now I know. Ms. Shaw says, I could be mistaken. Baldoni continues, yeah, I thought it starts auto-delete, and then you have to stop it from... But you could be right and I could be wrong. Question, do all of your Signal message threads auto-delete? He said no. There are some that do not auto-delete. And Baldoni says, I believe none of if I'm allowed to say this, none of our legal threads auto-delete.
Potato said, my phone is in a Faraday cage in the basement. That's really funny.
Where it belongs.
Where it belongs.
Yep. And at the end of the event, you will be the only one with the phone left. Okay. Where was I?
I don't know. You tell me.
I believe none of if I'm allowed to say this, he says, none of our legal threads auto-delete. Question, any of the non-legal threads that do not auto-delete? He said, I'm sure there are some. Next question, have you manually deleted any Signal messages since these lawsuits were filed? He said, no. During a break in this deposition, can you look at your phone, open your Signal app, and see whether there are any non-legal Signal threads still present on there? His attorney, Shapiro, speaks up, I'm going to object to that, direct you, I'm going to object to that. And Ms. Shaw is asking, you're going to instruct him not to do that? And she said, yes. Ms. Shaw says, okay. Question, would you be capable of doing that if not for your lawyer's instruction? And Baldoni says, I would hope so, with my hands and fingers and brain capacity. Question, are you going to follow your lawyer's instructions? And Baldoni says, I think I probably should. Question, what do you recall texting with Mitz at Wayfair about on Signal?
I love that they tried to get into his phone right there. Be like, so if we took a break, you'd be like, so hey, maybe on your next time break, can you go and check that? Imagine if he said yes, you'd be like, okay, we're going to take a break right now. Just go ahead and do that right now. Like, I'd just be jumping on that. Mm-hmm. Damn.
What do you recall texting with Mitz at Wayfair about on Signal? And Baldoni says, this whole time period it was crazy. So give me a second. I believe I was sending Mitz screenshots of a lot of old text messages. Question, which old text messages? Baldoni says, things that I believed would help me in telling the truth about what had actually happened. And if you recall, Mitz was the person who was tasked by Jamie Heath to create a timeline. He was the person who created the first rough draft of the timeline that ended up becoming their timeline document, which is like Exhibit A or something, I think, in that they put on that website, you know?
Yeah.
So that was created by Mitz. So everybody was supposed to just like feed all of this information to Mitz.
Mitz the aggregate?
So they're asking which text messages. Text messages with Blake, and Baldoni says no. Text messages with Stephanie Jones. He said, I don't believe I shared any of those with Mitz. No. Text messages with Jen Abel. He said no. Text messages with Melissa Nathan. He said, I didn't have any text messages with Melissa Nathan. Text messages with whom then? Baldoni says, my memory. Text messages with my health coach. Text messages with Don Saladino. Who is your health coach? And Baldoni answers, Jennifer Benson. What does she generally do for you? He says, she's not my current health coach. Question, what should she generally do for you when she was your health coach? He said, she tried to keep me healthy. How? His answer is supplements, peptides, helping my immune system.
Tickling.
Fluffing my pillow at night.
Fluffing my pillow.
Making sure it's always on the cold side.
Saying really nice things to me at all times. You are so handsome.
You are enough.
You are enough.
What about your text messages with your health coach did you believe at the time would help you explain the truth of what happened? Baldoni says, if my memory is correct, I was being accused of many things, but one of them was like putting Miss Lively on a phone call with a dietitian, which was a lie and an extreme distortion of the truth. Question, who is Dan Saladino? He's a personal trainer. Is he Miss Lively's personal trainer? And Baldoni said, I would assume so. And what about your text messages with him did you believe at the time would help you demonstrate the truth of what had happened? Baldoni says, the communication between him and myself that showed that he was also working with me. How many screenshots do you recall sending to Mitz? He said, I wish I could tell you. I don't know. More than 2? Yeah. More than 5? Probably. More than 10? That was a very hard time. I will say yes. So if it's a very hard time, it means that he's sending more.
Volume. Yeah.
He doesn't know if it's more than 15. He doesn't know if it's more than 20. He says, I want to help you. I genuinely don't know. The question is it possible it was more than 20? He said, that feels like a lot. I don't know. Is it possible it was more than 50? And Baldoni says, I would be very surprised. That's a lot. Does your Signal thread with Mitz auto-delete? Baldoni says, I don't know. I'm not sure. Have you gone back since this litigation started to look at it to see if it's still there? And he said, no. Can you do that during the break?
I can't fucking believe this. What do you mean, no? Go ahead.
Can you do that during the break?
Yeah.
And his attorney
objection.
And Ms. Shaw, who's questioning him, says, are you going to instruct him not to do that? And Ms. Shapiro says, yes, I am. Are you going to follow your counsel's instructions? And Baldoni says, I think I am. Are you capable of doing it?
I don't understand why they're not entitled to that discovery, man.
I know. Are you...
Motion to compel.
Right. Are you capable of doing it if not for your counsel's instructions? And Baldoni says, I would like to think I am. Next question. Other than texts with
that question is like, that's the whole like helping the judge understand that when they go for a motion compel, which they obviously already did because that's all over with, right?
Right. Other than texts with your health coach and texts with Dan Saladino, do you recall sending to Mitz screenshots of texts involving anyone else? He said, not that I can think of. Do you recall sending to Mitz texts of screenshots that had anything to do with Stephanie Jones or Jones Works or the work that you did with Stephanie Jones or Jones Works? Baldoni says there was very little conversation about Stephanie Jones at all during this time. And why is that? Because I don't think she was top of mind. Question, you said that you had either joined or tried to join a men's group that had a Signal group chat. Is that right? He said yes. What was that men's group? Baldoni said it was a group put on by a man named John Wineland, and I wasn't able to commit to the men's group, and commitment is a huge part of men's work. So they had added me to the chat, but then I let him know I wasn't able to commit. So then I was not a part of it. Why were you unable to commit? He said I was making a movie, and it ends with us. You said commitment is a huge part of men's work. What do you mean by that? I'm sorry for laughing. It's just, everything is he makes a mountain out of a molehill every time he can. Okay. Justin Baldoni says, sorry, the question is, you said commitment is a huge part of men's work. What do you mean by that? He said, men's work is based on agreements. And in order to feel vulnerable enough to show any parts of yourself that over the years you would be embarrassed or ashamed with, or to feel truly vulnerable so that you can do good work and be with other men in a sacred space, there are agreements that have to be made beforehand, like commitment to show up on time, commitment to, not miss the meetings, commitment that you're able to actually attend the in-person retreat because those agreements create safety. And all of this in the context of a signal chat, when he says, in order to feel vulnerable enough to show any parts of yourself that over the years you would have felt embarrassed or ashamed with, I'm thinking like dick pics, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like auto-delete, right? Anyway. Sorry, that's crass.
Pern.
Had you ever done men's...
You're so crass.
I know.
Come on.
That makes two of us, bro. Come on. Had you ever done men's work in the past? He said yes. How many times? Baldoni says, I think it could be considered that some of my daily practice is men's work, so I don't think I can give you a number. What is this men's work?
It's got to be annoying.
Chopping the wood? Oh, man. And looking hot while you do it?
This is why I can't, I say I can't, that's why I can't join that. Companies are like, hey, it's the men's work. What's that? Is, when we're like, take our shirts off and we chop wood, I'll be like, well, I'm not going to do that.
Sounds great.
You got to sign me up for...
Can I come?
I'll noodle on a guitar. Can I do that? Will you guys do that?
Yes, that is also men's work.
Well,
it's very important.
We didn't play chop wood in. Well, anyway, the reality though is that this is the one thing that always I know churches are like the organization within a church or whatever, the opportunities, the clubs, the meets, the whatever, the Wednesday nights, and I know that the community, right? I get it. But it's just for me, the thing that scares me away from the first.
Because most of the dudes I know, they get together, they like watch sports and eat hot wings.
Right.
It's like, it's awesome.
Right.
They love it. They like fucking play video games and it's chill and
exactly.
Awesome. And I'm sure they talk about vulnerable shit too. It's not all this retreats. They call that camping where I'm from. I don't know. Anyway, he's in a whole world. I'm sure it's all being exploited for money too. I'm sure you have to pay to be a part of all this stuff. Okay. I think it could be, Baldoni says, I think it could be considered that some of my daily practice is men's work, so I don't think I can give you a number of how many times. Over how many years. Baldoni says my 30s. What is the purpose of the men's work you do? Okay, this is enlightening. Okay. Baldoni says, if I were going to distill it, I would attempt to be, it would attempt to be an opened, I'm sorry, if I were going to distill it, it would to attempt to be an open, kind man. Question. Do you think men need to work on that in order to become that way? Baldoni says, I think every human does. Then the next question is, then why is it called men's work and not people work? He says, because I believe I'm not the one who invented or created men's work, but I can give you my opinion if that's okay. I believe that men have to do work with men. Sorry, there's a page break here. I believe that men have to do work with men. I think that integration with men and women is more than likely very tricky.
Well,
and I think that women do a lot of work with women, and I think that both men and women need safe spaces for healing.
He's not wrong. I mean, you don't like sit there and be like, all right, let it out. Be like, oh, these women, they're talking about their problem. They're talking about their propensity for this or their whatever proclivity for that. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. That's a part of what creeps me out about the whole thing, frankly. It does. It's like, oh, let's sit around and discuss why the things we can't discuss in front of women.
Right.
Which is weird to me. It's weird to me. Even if there are some things I wouldn't discuss in front of a woman, I can't think of any at this moment, but there was probably a time in my life when I had that.
Yeah. I think a bunch of these dudes got into relationships at a very young age, and they're with people that they don't feel like they can be super open to. That's strange.
It is.
So he concludes his answer saying, and I think that both men and women need safe spaces for healing. And the next question is, healing what? And
Kittens.
And his answer is, how much time do you have?
Oh, the world is a wounded place, and Justin is aware of all the wounds.
So the lawyer says, give me the 35-second answer.
Fuckface. I wish he said ended it with fuckface.
Baldoni says, healing what collectively? Healing what do men and women need to heal from? And she goes, sure. Baldoni says, millennia of trauma, abuse, generations and generations of trauma that's been passed down from our families and parents, and interpersonal relationship trauma. I'm assuming that was 35 seconds.
He carries so much burden, and he's like, I can see all of this, all my ancestral burdens on my shoulder. Like, he can see this about himself, right? He walks around with the weight of not just this world, but many worlds before him,
right?
All upon his own shoulders. But he's going to find a way to just totally heal from that and heal everyone around. Don't worry about it. We're going to go all the way back. When do you know? Have you done Ancestry.com? Do we know when this thing begins for you?
When I look at Baldoni's behavior and the way that he's conducted himself through this entire stressful
He's a fucking guy who
situation,
gets an ancestral thing, and he goes, oh yeah, in 1600, look at this. In 1600, one of your whatever this person killed the father. This hurts. We got to talk about this. We got to work on this with you. Sorry.
If there's anybody that seems to me to be very healed from all these several decades of work that he's been doing, it's definitely Baldoni. I mean, you can tell by the way that he's conducted himself through this time.
He's all patched
where
up.
He's got very minor challenges that he absolutely flips the fuck out about.
No, I mean, he's a he's a speaker to people. I
wish him the best. I don't know if it's working out for him. Next question is, do you have a practice of taking handwritten notes? He said, at times. She said, describe that to me. Baldoni says, I've always struggled in school, and sometimes when I'm listening to something, I need to write down. Sometimes it helps to remember. Do you carry a notebook dedicated to your handwritten notes? He said, sometimes. Do you carry it everywhere you go? He said, no. Do you carry it sometimes? He said, I don't have just one. I'm not like a journalist note taker that always walks around with it. No. Did you have handwritten notes in connection with your work on It Ends With Us? He said there were a few days that I did, yes. Did you take handwritten notes in connection with any of the publicity or other work you did with Jones Works or Stephanie Jones or Jen Abel while she was at Jones Works? He said no. Have you brought a notebook to take handwritten notes to these depositions? He said yes. Which depositions? He said Blake Lively and Steve Sarowitz the other day.
It's weird that he went to Steve's.
For emotional support.
Like, I definitely didn't go to, I don't think I went to any of ours.
In Steve Sarowitz's deposition, he was just hand drawing like hearts the whole time. Just filling his notebook with hearts.
It's like rubbing his leg. It's okay, Steve. It's okay, Steve. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
Did you take handwritten notes during these depositions? He said, yes, but for my lawyer. Question, only for your lawyer? Baldoni says, for both of us. To clarify, the lawyer says, only for you and your lawyer? He said, yeah, I don't know who else it would have been for. Do you still have those handwritten notes? He said, I believe I do. Did you take any handwritten notes in preparation for your deposition? He's being directed not to answer. It's on the record. He's asking, what is that? I direct you not to answer. He's saying, I'm directed not to answer. So Ms. Shaw, who's questioning him, says, can he answer a yes or no question? Did he take any handwritten notes in preparation for this deposition, yes or no? And he said yes. How many pages? And again, Ms. Shapiro says, I'm going to object to this line. This is a work product. Are you instructing him not to answer? She says, yes, I am. Next question, do you still have those handwritten notes? He said, they were shared with my attorney. So you're saying your attorney has a copy of the handwritten notes? And he's being directed not to answer the question again. Next question. My question is, do you still have the handwritten notes, yes or no? And the attorney says, you can answer that yes or no. He said yes. It's interesting how contentious that is, huh?
I don't like it. I don't even see like the purpose of it. It doesn't matter. I mean, like she wants to get her hands on these notes, but she's never going to get them.
Right. All right. Next line of questioning. Where were you in your career when you started working with Stephanie Jones as a publicist? He said, I was on a TV show called Jane the Virgin. Had you had a publicist before that? He said, yes. Who was it? He said, I had a few. Oh gosh, the name Sunshine rings a bell, or Sun. My first publicist's name was Siri before phones. I had a few. I'm so sorry. I don't remember the names of the organizations. Next question. Why did you switch to Stephanie Jones as your publicist when you began working with her? And he said, I heard she was amazing. Who did you hear that from? He said, the person who introduced us said she had a lot of really great clients. And you began working...
Tom Brady.
Yeah, for real. And you began working with Stephanie Jones as a publicist in your personal capacity at first, right? He said yes. As an actor, yes. And then at sometimes thereafter, she began working... Sorry, this is a question. And then at some time thereafter, she began working also with Wayfarer Studios. Is that right? Baldoni says, when Wayfarer Studios was formed, I was already a client of Stephanie Jones as an actor. And then after Wayfarer Studios was formed, then the company, I believe, started to work with the company, yes. Okay, and after Wayfarer Studios was formed, Stephanie Jones worked as a publicist, both for Wayfarer Studios and for your personal publicity moving forward, right? And he said the company did, yeah. The company being Jones Works? He said Jones Works. Okay, did you feel at the time when you began working with Stephanie Jones, were you happy with her work? He wants more specificity. Do you believe she was supportive of your career? And he said, yeah. Do you think that she did good work for you as a publicist? Baldoni says, Stephanie was never my personal publicist, so that's hard for me to answer, but I was overall happy with what the company was doing for me. How many times over the years would you say you communicated directly with Stephanie? He said, over the years, so she clarifies, from the time you started working with her to the time you ceased working with her. Baldoni says, we would text every once in a while. We would have a phone call. She'd always reach out and congratulate me if something was worth...
Happy birthday, Justin.
If there was something going on, or she would send me words of encouragement if I was going to do something, or if there was press, but I can't give you an exact number. Did you appreciate the words of encouragement when she sent them to you? He said, I did. Did she come to your family during the time she was Did she come to know your family during the time she was working with you? He said, not intimately, but yes, she did. Did you feel over the years that you were working with her before you began filming It Ends With Us, did you feel like you generally had a positive relationship with Stephanie Jones? He said, yes. Did you feel that she was...
laying foundation for the Jen Abel spoiled it all.
Right into it.
That's very interesting.
I know he's going to get cornered. That's why he's just going to fail on cross-examination during a trial. If he takes a stand, Did you feel that she was generally supportive of you and your career? He said, yes. Did you feel like she and Jones Works did good work for you as a publicist? He said, I believe they did. Would you agree that she took you on as a client at a relatively early stage in your career? And he said, I'm not sure about that one. She had a lot of
pretty huge.
She had a lot of big name clients then, right? Yeah. And you were relatively earlier in your career at that point than those big name clients, right? He said, in comparison, yes. You don't think you were at Tom Brady, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson level, right?
She's like, can you show some modesty? A modicum.
All right, next question. From the time you began working with Stephanie Jones up until the time you began filming It Ends With Us, did you ever have any issue with her? He's asking to repeat the question. Did you ever have any issues with Stephanie Jones? Okay. He answers, I don't recall any issues, like a personal issue. Is that what you mean? She said, or a professional issue. He said, no. Did you ever have any reason to fire her? And he goes, no, I can remember feeling she didn't have much time for me. But I'm also a realist to know that I'm not The Rock, or, so I understood that I was a client, but that she was having other people manage me in my career. So there were times there were many times where I didn't feel she had time for me and that I was just kind of there. But there was no reason to fire her. No, not at all.
Wow.
I know, it's not good.
Wow.
And I think, I can't recall if Jen Abel's in the room.
I think she is, yeah. She's there. She's a defendant, is she not?
Yeah.
Yeah, he spoke of her in the room, and we can check. You can check at the top of the document, and it'll tell you who's all there.
I think I remember. Question. During the times when you feel she didn't personally have time for you, were there other publicists at JonesWorks that did respond on the day-to-day for your issues? Baldoni said, oh, always, yeah. At some point in time, the publicist who was most responsible for the day-to-day on your and Wayfarer's account at JonesWorks was Jen Abel, is that right? He said, yes. Did you work very closely with Jen Abel over that time? He said, I did. Okay, during the time that JonesWorks was your publicist, before the filming of It Ends With Us, did they ever help handle any controversies for you or Wayfarer? He's asking for clarification. She goes, anything you would consider to be a crisis? And Baldoni says, nothing that became public. But if there was ever something that I felt like anxious about, yes. Nothing that ever became public. I do recall them trying to navigate they discussed suppressing a story about a girl who said that he invited her to his hotel room.
Yeah, I'm sure there was some the 5 feet apart stuff.
Yeah.
And there may have been, because we don't know.
There's lawsuits, of course.
Both of those lawsuits.
Yeah,
Shane Norman or whatever his name is. What's his name? Greg Norman? No, Shane Norman.
Shane Norman and Travis Flores.
Yeah, Flores was.
Oh, yeah. So here it is. Okay. Next question. Does that include when you were sued in connection with 5 feet apart? He said, yes. Did you consider that to be a crisis? He said, I felt like it was a crisis. Yeah. Did Stephanie Jones help you in connection with that crisis? Baldoni says there was no PR. It wasn't like a big public thing, but I definitely remember calling her and Jen about it. Yeah. Did she recommend a lawyer to you for that lawsuit? He said, I don't remember. She might have. Were there times over the course of your relationship with Stephanie between when you first hired her and when you began filming It Ends With Us that you would request a phone call directly with her to deal with an issue? Baldoni says, I don't think I ever had to request. I think I would just call her. Like, it wasn't like a formal process. I would just call her. And the lawyer's like, okay. And she would be responsive? He said, yeah. She would always call me back if she didn't answer then.
I mean, yeah. You call your publicist.
That sounds really attentive.
No, that's how it works.
I mean, yeah, but he's not Tom Brady. You know?
No, but he's not getting Stephanie Jones. He's getting Jen Abel.
Do you recall ever making...
Traitor.
Yeah, traitor Jen Abel, right. Do you recall ever making a comment to her that you'd never gotten her voicemail? Baldoni says, I remember oftentimes telling Stephanie that she needed to take a break because she was always on and joking with her like, you got kids and like you can only imagine the phone calls and all the people that she was getting. So I could imagine I had made that comment. Next question. Do you recall a time when you introduced her to Colleen Hoover?
Did he say I consider everything a crisis? No.
No.
That's something Potato is saying about him. It's kind of like that.
That he considered, yeah.
Everything is a fucking crisis for him.
Yeah, he needs to be consoled all the time about everything. Question. Do you recall a time when you introduced her to Colleen Hoover? He said, I think I do, actually. What do you recall about that? Baldoni says, I didn't until you just brought it up. But I recall learning that Colleen Hoover had done like nail polish or something for the book, and I couldn't believe it. And I believe she was getting backlash, which ultimately was terrible for the project we were developing, this movie. And I remember asking Colleen if she had anybody that was helping her make decisions, like, and she said no. I said, I think you need a publicist, and so I introduced her to Stephanie Jones. Question, because you believed that Stephanie Jones could help her with the publicity issues she was experiencing? And Baldoni says, I believe that Stephanie could help her in general. I think that to be in the situation that Colleen was in and to not have any support or anyone telling you, like, maybe that's not a good idea, I thought Stephanie could help. And you trusted Stephanie at that time to help, right? And he said, yeah. Do you recall introducing her to Colleen by saying, this is my friend, Stephanie Jones? Baldoni says, I'm sure I did. I considered her a friend. Do you recall telling Colleen that Stephanie was a master publicist? Baldoni said, I don't, but I could see myself saying that, yeah. Would that have been accurate in terms of your view at the time? Did you think Stephanie was a master publicist? Baldoni said yes. Do you recall a time when you learned that Business Insider was planning to publish a negative story about Stephanie Jones? He said yes. When did you learn that? His answer is the year or month before. The year or month or... She goes, as specific as you can give me. He said, I know who I learned it from. Who was that? He said, Stephanie Jones. And what did she tell you? She told me, I don't remember the exact words, but she was very upset. And she FaceTimed me crying. And she said that they're like trying to ruin her life or something. She was very emotional. I don't remember exact words. Question, did you feel for her in that situation? Baldoni says, I did. It was very complicated. Why was it complicated? He said, because she was my publicist and I was struggling during that period myself. I didn't have a lot of emotional bandwidth. See? He is always expecting other people to dote on him emotionally. But when she calls him crying, he's like, listen, I don't have space for this.
Who's paying who here? I'm cutting you the check, am I right? So, can you go cry into a napkin or something?
You're supposed to be consoling me, bro.
Fuck.
This fucking guy.
It's like $8,000 a month. What is this? I'm sorry you're going through that. I'm sorry your friends are betraying you. Can you get to work for me now?
Because she was my publicist and I was struggling during that period myself. I didn't have a lot of emotional bandwidth. And while I considered her a friend.
Sort of. Kind of.
Not really, though. Not when she needs one.
I don't think he should have, she's his publicist and she's she's a contractor.
Well, I considered her a friend. I think there are different levels of friendship. In that conversation, it felt like I might not have been the best person for her to be FaceTiming with these feelings. And he's asked why. And he goes, because I was her client. She was meant to be my publicist. And it was the kind of call you might have with a therapist. Did you offer to write her a letter of support to the Business Insider reporter? And he said, after she asked me to, I did. And did you in fact do that? He said, I did. The attorney goes, I would like to hand you a document. We're going to mark this as Exhibit 1. For the record, this is a text thread between you and Stephanie Jones, dated July 3rd, 2024. It bears and she's talking about the category numbers, okay?
Yeah.
Do you see this? Yes. Do you recall this text thread exchange between you and Stephanie Jones? He said, vaguely, but yes. And you write up at the top, she asks you if you would be open to writing a sentence or two for Business Insider about her and Jones' works. And you respond, and she's reading, this is a quote, Hi, Steph, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'd be happy to. Do you see that? He says, I do. Were you happy to? He says, being completely honest, I don't know if I was actually happy to. I think that was what you say, like, I'd be happy to. Question, but you were willing to? He goes, absolutely. Next question. And she goes on to describe the types of things that might be appearing in the Business Insider story and the things that the reporters were saying when they were calling her clients. Do you see that? And he said, is this paragraph 2? She's clarifying paragraph 2 through the end of the page at the bottom where she writes, and she's quoting, also, they wouldn't say a man was aggressive or tough or intense. Those are the words they're using when they call clients. Do you see that? He said, I do. Flip the page for me. You write, and this is a quote, quoting Baldoni saying, I'm sorry you're going through this. Of course not. It's gendered. Do you see that? He said, I do. What do you mean by it's gendered? And Baldoni said, I was just, again, I don't remember exactly what I was feeling in this moment. I think I do remember feeling that, like, this to me, it made me uncomfortable. I don't want to tell her that because she was going through so much. It was interesting to be asked by your publicist, whose job it is to handle public relations, to make a public statement for your publicist. So I know I felt uncomfortable. And from what I'm reading, she says, in quotes, they wouldn't say a man was aggressive or tough or intense. So I think I was agreeing with her, trying to make her feel seen by saying, of course not, it's gendered. So I was under the assumption that what she was saying was that these words we use to describe men are not used in the same way to describe women. So that's, I'm assuming, what I meant when I said it's gendered. Next question. And that the words being used to describe women, like those that she wrote here, are used negatively, whereas they would not be used negatively as against male professionals. Is that what you understand she was saying? Baldoni says, I believe that's what she was saying. I'm just not sure I fully agree, but I believe that's what she was saying. Question.
Brian Beth is saying, and this is because she's saying what everyone's thinking, which is like, so he's being fake to Stephanie, something he accuses Ryan and Blake of doing.
What's the...
And he's just fake all the time because he was fake on the red carpet. Like, the fake that he was on the red carpet was kind of disgusting to me because it was over the top. Like, he didn't have to say the things that he said about Blake Lively that he did, that she was this rock for him and that she's ready to direct and all these, like, really amazingly complimentary things when he's at the same time building a war room
Yeah.
to destroy her.
Right.
It just makes them so disingenuous. Like, it's like, and I'm not saying like I wouldn't necessarily do the same thing in this situation where I might not love my publicist in the moment. They're like, can you do this? Yeah, I'd be happy to. I might. So I'm not in this very specific instance saying, oh, this is evidence of this guy being a complete total fakery, but it does show that, it has a beginning.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that they would not be used negatively as against male professionals. Okay. He says, I'm not sure I fully agree, but I believe that's what she was saying. So the question is, do you not agree with that? And so Baldoni says, I think that a man being called aggressive, tough, or intense would also be considered a negative statement. Question. Do you think that the press would write articles about a male CEO being aggressive or intense or tough the same way they would about a female CEO? And Baldoni says, I don't believe we can make an absolute statement like that because I've definitely read things where press would say a man was aggressive or tough or intense in a negative way. Do you believe that the press is more apt to write a negative article about a female CEO being aggressive or tough than they are about a male CEO being aggressive or tough? And Baldoni says, I want to help you here. I just don't know if we want to debate about gender because I'm not an expert in like how many articles are written from a male or female perspective. I know that I've seen many articles putting down male leaders by using aggressive or tough or intense. And I also know that there are much more male CEOs than female CEOs. So again, I'm not a gender studies major, so I couldn't give you, but what I can say is that oftentimes when a woman we'll say tough, that I think maybe people aren't used to it because oftentimes men have been in positions of power. I don't know if that's helpful to you at all.
Well, it is, Justin, because you're fucking all over Blake Lively because she was some kind of pain in the ass for you. Maybe you're suffering from this very fucking problem. Maybe she wasn't at all aggressive. Maybe she was just chill, but you're just not used to that. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe she was just like, hey, maybe if your friend, like your boy, maybe one of your boys are like, hey, I wanna, and you're like, oh yeah, and you don't think about it because he's a dude. You're just like, yeah, man, I'll help you up. I'll give you the jobs, I'll put you in the positions or whatever. But maybe when a woman is doing it, especially one that isn't your bro, maybe that's when all of a sudden, you catch yourself in, this, hypocrisy. Go right ahead.
It's an interesting line of questioning because he's starting to get a little like exhausted by it.
Yeah.
And she's not being really clear about why she's asking this.
It's great.
The next question is, are we debating whether or not the press is more apt to write negative articles about a female CEO being aggressive or tough than we are to write articles about male CEOs being aggressive or tough? And Baldoni says, I think I've forgotten what we're debating, to be honest with you. And I'm with him on that. Do you think we're debating anything? She asks.
Yeah, exactly. There is no debate. I'm like, why is this a debate? Everything is a fucking war with this guy. She's asking questions and you're answering them. This isn't a debate.
So Baldoni says, I'm not even sure what your original question was. And so she says, you use the word gendered. What do you mean by that? He says, I love
it. She's like, let's go back to the original, which is you use the fucking word gendered.
You use the word gendered. What do you mean by that? And he goes, you mean, what did I mean when I wrote it? And she says, what do you understand the word gendered to mean generally? Baldoni says, something that would be encapsulated by one's gender, maybe a behavior that is used in one way for one gender and another way for another. Is that what you mean? Sorry, is that what you meant when you used it here? And
specific
says,
to bias towards or belonging to people of one particular sex or bias.
Gendered.
Yeah, gendered is specific. The first meaning, specific to, biased towards, or belonging to people of one particular sex or gender. And then the second is a word or language having or featuring grammatical gender. Spanish is a gendered language.
Were you making a little tally on a notepad?
Yeah, did I get one?
No.
Oh.
He didn't mention Bahia again.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know if you had a notepad with you, okay? Because I'm going to tell you about this, okay?
Okay.
All right. He said something he's being asked to, what do you understand the word gendered to mean generally? He said something that would be encapsulated by one's gender, maybe a behavior that is used in one way for one gender and another way for another. And she says, is that what you meant when you used it here? And he said, when I used it here, I was agreeing with Stephanie Jones because it appears to me that she was needing to vent and share that they are calling her aggressive or tough or intense. And she says here they wouldn't say a man was aggressive or tough or intense. So I'm just trying to make her feel better. Again, I can't remember exactly what I was feeling, but it looks to me like I'm saying, yeah, of course not. It's gendered. Question, did you find her to be aggressive or tough or intense? Baldoni says, there were times I called her Mama Bear because of her aggression, which I said endearingly, but I didn't know. I didn't know the Stephanie that she was inferring people or accusing her to be. Anyway, I wanted you to write down Stephanie Jones, Mama Bear. Because he has this way of making everybody parent figures. And when he talks about himself, he talks about himself as a child very often. And so I can't remember the names of everybody that he parentifies,
Parentify.
Okay. There were times I called her Mama Bear because of her aggression, which I said endearingly, but I don't know. I didn't know that the Stephanie that she was inferring people or accusing her to be. Question, you had not experienced these kinds of things for her yourself? He said, no, I hadn't. Did you read the Business Insider article? He said, no. Have you ever read it? He said, no. You don't have a view one way or another as to whether it was fair or unfair? He said, I never read it, so I couldn't. She's going to hand Justin Baldoni another document. This is Exhibit 2. Let me see what this is. This is a text between you and Jamie Heath and Jennifer Abel dated July 3rd, 2024. This is the same date as the text thread that we were just looking at in Exhibit 1. Do you recall this text thread? He said, yes, I do. And in this text thread, you were working through with Jen Abel and Jamie Heath the content of the statement you are going to provide to Business Insider in support of Stephanie. Is that right? And he's asking to read it first to refresh his memory, and they let him. Okay, next question. You will see a text from you at the top. It's marked 8:10 p.m. where you say, and she's reading in quotes from Baldoni, how's this, Jamie? I made it a little more me. Is that too much? And then you draft or paste a draft statement below. And in that statement, you write, in quotes, Stephanie has always been an exceptional publicist and member of my brain trust, not just for me personally, but also for my company, Wayfarer Studios. Do you see that? He said, yeah. Was that an accurate statement at the time you wrote that? He said, yeah, I think it's, to truly be fair, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but still true.
Well, brain trust is already stupid. So what do you mean by exaggeration? Brain trust. What is brain trust?
I know.
Is that like, does your brain get a check every month? What is a brain trust?
Well, Stephanie Jones is a member of his brain trust. So maybe that's a hint.
It's weird to have member brain trust, member brain trust.
You're a member of my brain trust.
I am?
If I had a brain trust, yeah.
Do I get a card or some kind of fucking badge or something that I get to wear?
Yeah, it's a lanyard, though.
Oh.
It's a key card to get in to the brain.
Beep, just tap it on your forehead.
Okay. Question. Are you in the habit of providing press with statements that are exaggerated? That's a great question. Baldoni says, I would not call it a habit. I was just helping a friend.
So would you do it to harm a friend?
Yeah, right. And then the question is, to help yourself or a friend, do you think you would provide the press with statements that were exaggerated from the truth? Baldoni says, I don't think I've provided any statements of myself. This was a very rare thing for me. In this case, did you provide the press a statement that was exaggerated from the truth? And Baldoni says, brain trust, looking back, feels, no, I would say that's okay, actually.
Oh, yeah, because now you realize you just got you're about to be checkmated, and you're like, actually, let me step aside from that statement.
Because I did call on her from time to time, so I would say that I think it's fine. Do you think it's accurate? He says, at the time, I do think it's accurate. And then she keeps reading. Then you go on to say, and
he changed his. I just want you to know that in the course of the questioning, he changed his statement about how he felt about that.
Yeah, it was an exaggeration, and then no, it's absolutely.
He changed everything. Mm-hmm. He literally
That's right.
answered the question differently, and then once he realized that she had checkmated him to him
He's like-
providing exaggerated statements to the press,
Yeah.
he backed down and then said, because it's like when you think about it as a chess game, the guy had no good move here, right? Because either he is lying or whatever, exaggerating, and he's somebody who would then manipulate the press for whatever, his purpose is, in this case, to help his friend Stephanie Jones and publicist Stephanie Jones, right? Or he likes Stephanie Jones, or Stephanie Jones was a good chap. It's just, he's just in bad spots. Like, that's just a bad spot for him. It's like, either she's good or she's not. And he wanted to say she's not because the fucking relationship crumbles based on this Jen Abel fucking monster, in my opinion.
I think you're right. I think he just called Uncle there because he was like, I don't want to be subjected to this line of questioning. So I'm just going to agree with you so we can move on.
But I mean, there's a definite, changing of his statement in that, this lawyer put him in a spot where he changed his story.
Yeah, this is true. Okay, so then you go on to say, and then she's reading a quote from Baldoni. She is an incredibly hard worker, and she finds a way to be available at all hours of the day, and has gone.
Oh, Jen Abel? Who's this?
This is Baldoni talking about Stephanie Jones.
Okay.
So
this is the written thing. I see.
Yes, but
okay.
He's talking to Jamie Heath and Jen Abel, where they're working out his draft statement in support of Stephanie Jones.
Right.
Okay. So
She's like, Jen's just eye rolling through the whole fucking thing.
So they're continuing to read the rest of his draft that he's proposing to them for their notes. Pardon me. She's an incredibly hard worker, and she finds a way to be available at all hours of the day and has gone above and beyond to ensure the success of not just me, but my company. Was that a true statement at the time? And he said, I believe so. Okay, and then you write, and this is a quote from Baldoni, she has built an amazing team who I also work very closely with, and I have never had a moment of hesitation in trusting her. Was that a true statement at the time? He said, it was. And then you go on to write, another quote from him. Her advice and guidance has always been spot on. I have never personally witnessed her mistreat anyone, and on the contrary, she has always treated me and my team with the utmost respect, like family. Was that an accurate statement at the time? He said it was. Next question. And
that's why I can't be a lawyer, because I would yell that. I would yell that. Was that an accurate statement? I just yell.
You could never know.
No. You'd be like, why are you yelling? Because he's a fucking dick. That's why.
He's clearly lying. And this, in sum and substance, is similar to the statement that you ultimately did provide to Katie Warren, who was a reporter in Business Insider, right? He said, I would assume so. Okay, so they are showing him Exhibit 3. This is an email from you to Katie Warren, and then from Katie Warren to you, dated July 3rd, 2024 and July 4th, 2024. Do you remember sending this email to Katie Warren? He said, I believe I do. Do you remember her emailing back to you? He said, I believe I do. All right. If you read the statement that you sent to Katie Warren, is there anything untrue in that statement? So they're giving him time to read it. And he said no. Okay. And then Katie Warren responds. And then they're reading this quote. Thank you so much for sending me this. Thank you so much for sending this. Are you free for a quick call sometime today or tomorrow? Did you ever have a call with Katie Warren? He said, I did not. Did you ever respond to this email? He said, I did not. Okay. Did you, other than the text thread that we looked at a moment ago in Exhibit 2 between you and Jen Abel and Jamie Heath, did you ever have a phone conversation with Jen Abel about the topic of the Business Insider story? He said, I believe I did. More than one? He said, I don't think so. What do you recall about that phone conversation? Baldoni says, I believe Jamie Heath was on the call too. I don't think that there was ever a one-on-one call. I recall telling them both I felt uncomfortable being asked to email a reporter directly when I was going through a lot. And I remember Jamie being also effusive about and saying that and agreeing that we should. I wanted to, but I just wasn't it was just an uncomfortable position to be in because she was my publicist and she was asking me to make a statement for her. And I just remember feeling weird about that. I remember Jen saying how much it would mean to Stephanie if I did it. And also I remember Jen kind of acting more like a publicist in the situation and saying, and yeah, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to. And but she would really appreciate it if you did. So Jen was kind of serving as my publicist in that moment, because Stephanie in that moment was kind of reaching out outside of a publicist, more like, hey, I'm in a crisis, I need help. And then ultimately I decided to do it for her. Question. So you expressed to Jen Abel that this made you feel a bit uncomfortable. And Baldoni says, Jamie Heath and Jen Abel, yeah. Did you ever express that directly to Stephanie Jones? And he said, I did not. And Jen Abel told you on the call, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. And some and substance. No, some or. Did you know it's some or substance?
Whatever, man. There's two S's, or two S words. I know that much.
Substance.
Some or substance.
He says, no, she said only what you're comfortable with, basically. Again, I don't remember the exact words, but she was leaning more towards it would be really helpful for Stephanie. And also, I think she understood that somebody needed to say to me, like, don't feel pressured. Like, there's other people also giving statements. Question. You understood that there were other clients giving statements in support of Stephanie Jones for that article? And he said, Stephanie texted me that others were. Okay, did your statement ultimately appear in Business Insider article? And he said, I've never read it, I don't know. Did there come a time when Jen Abel suggested to you or Jamie that you should withdraw your statement from Katie Warren? He said, not that I recall. You were never told that there came a time where Jen Abel suggested to Jamie Heath that he should pull back the statement that you sent to Katie Warren? He said, I have no memory of that. Is that something that you would have that you would have expected Jamie Heath to tell you at the time? He said, if it happened, I would assume he would. But you have no memory of ever being told that. He said, no, almost the opposite. Do you know if a decision was ever made by Jamie Heath to keep the statement or to withdraw it? Baldoni says, no, I sent the statement, so I assumed it ended up in the article, or it didn't. I don't know. Okay. Next question. If Jen Abel thought at any point in time that maybe you should withdraw the statement that you sent, would you have expected her to raise that directly with you? And Baldoni says, thinking about that period, no. Jamie was handling a lot of conversations. I think I was finishing, I don't remember what month this was, but I imagine I was finishing or working on the movie, and I oftentimes didn't want to be part of most conversations. Did you genuinely defer to Jamie Heath to make decisions like this? He said yes. For example, like this question, for example, like whether or not you should pull a statement in support of Stephanie Jones that you had already sent to a reporter. And Baldoni says, like I said, I wasn't aware of any of that. I wasn't aware that I was ever going to pull a statement. Okay, did you generally defer to Jamie Heath to make decisions around an interface with publicity matters with your publicity team? He said yes. Okay, in the period around July, August, September of 2024, when there was a bit of press activity around you in the film, did you generally defer to Jamie Heath to handle that with your publicist without you? Baldoni says, I think everybody knew at the time that I was going through a lot and that I trusted Jamie to always do what was right. And so, yeah, I don't think people were coming directly to me at that time for anything. Do you think it's important to be personally involved in decisions like that? Like what is happening around the publicity of what you might term a crisis in connection with your making of It Ends With Us? And Baldoni says, well, I remember being involved. I don't think I said I wasn't involved. If I did, then I misspoke. Question, do you remember making decisions in connection with that? And Baldoni says, I think you'd need to be more specific on what decisions are. She says, any decisions. Did you feel like a decision maker, or did you feel like someone else was a decision maker? Baldoni says, I can't remember many decisions needing to be made at that time, but I know I was doing press at a very difficult period, and I think that there were definitely things that related to... I'm sorry, I'm breaking down.
Come on now.
So I think that there were definitely things that related to maybe business or high-level things that I wasn't involved with, nor did I want to be.
Why don't you find a stopping point, and then we'll do some chat, and then we'll call it for a day.
Okay. Question. Do you think it would have been weird to retract a statement of support that you previously sent to a reporter? Baldoni says, I think weird is do you want me to maybe ask me a different word? She says, would you have been surprised to learn that Jen Abel asked Jamie to retract the statement of support that you sent for Stephanie Jones to the Business Insider reporter? And Baldoni says, I would be surprised because I don't think or know if she did. And the attorney goes, can you pull tab 55, please?
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well, we're not going to stop until this part.
Yeah, of course. We're going to mark this as Exhibit 4, a text conversation between Jen Abel and Jamie Heath, dated August 9th, 2024. Can you read through this for me, please? He said, she's asking, have you ever seen this before? He said, I have not. Were you aware before you just looked at this, that this conversation took place? He said, nope.
Oh my God, this fucking guy, bro.
Nope. Do you recall events surrounding a Daily Mail article that was published on the topic of tensions between you and Blake Lively on August 8th, 2024? He said, I don't remember the specifics of it, but I definitely remember there were articles coming out at that time. Question, and do you remember a big issue around whether or not Stephanie Jones had ever spoken to the Daily Mail around that time? He's asking August, and she said 8th. He said, yes, I do. Okay. You see here that Jen texts Jamie a Daily Mail article that says, at least in this version of the web link, it ends Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni feud, right? And he confirms that's what it says. And she says, okay, and this is right around the time the articles started appearing in the Daily Mail that were kind of first publicizing this alleged feud in traditional media, right? And Baldoni says, I don't know, but I will take your word for it. I don't know if Daily Mail was the first or I remember there was a lot of things happening during this period. And question, and that was a big deal, right? When the press first started picking up this alleged feud between you and Blake? He said, yeah. It was the reason you brought on Crisis Communications. And Baldoni says, because, can you ask that question again? And she says, because the press had started picking up and reporting on an alleged feud between you and Blake. And Baldoni says, because press was talking about it, yeah. And it was becoming a public crisis. Okay. And then right after Jen sends Jamie that article, she says, in quotes, just thought about something. Should I try to get Justin's letter removed from Business Insider? Do you see that? And he said, I do. Okay. And then she's continuing to read a quote. I would need to tell her on background that both Justin and Wayfair have severed ties. Do you see that? And he said, I do. And, the attorney's asking, had Justin and Wayfair severed ties with Jonesworks at this point? And Baldoni says, I have no idea. On August 9th, I don't know. Do you have any idea why Jen Abel would be suggesting that to Jamie that you leak on background that Justin and Wayfair have severed ties with Jonesworks? And Baldoni says, I remember Jamie sending a text message that he just told me about to Stephanie, basically saying, stop, don't make any phone calls. And that if she continued, that we would be leaving. But I don't remember the date of that. And I don't remember where this is in that timeline. I would need to see. So I don't know if at this point he had already told her that we were leaving or I just don't know.
There you go. Let's stop there.
Are you sure?
Yeah, let's do some chat.
Okay. This is page 118.
Yeah, make sure you mark your spot so that we can pick this up. Are we starting tomorrow? Are we going tomorrow?
Yeah, I'd like to.
We're going back tomorrow, Deanne.
Apparently I have like a 2-hour reading
Dude,
expiration.
big applause to you. That's like a fucking amazing. I can't believe you read straight 2 hours with nary a break. I busted you up once and then, you got a break there.
If I get
Took a couple sips of waters.
If I get to if you guys are hearing like the mac and cheese stirring and my mouth sounds, you got to tell Dale. So he tells me to
I got filters on for that.
Thanks.
I got all that sorted already. Wow. Well, thank you for reading. That was amazing. And there was some, I thought there was some really fucking great stuff in there, particularly right there at the end where he's once again in the dark that people are, operating on his behalf in ways that he may not agree with.
That's a juicy line of questioning. I love it when she's like, "Oh, you didn't know? Anyway, let's show the witness this document."
Bubba's going to be out next week. It's going to be busy.
Oh,
I saw Delicate pop in and out. I don't know if she's still here, but what's up, Delicate, if you're here? Glad you were able to make it and hang out with us. It's great. So, yeah, thank you for reading. Amazing stuff. Obviously, there was some really interesting... is there anything in particular that grabbed you that you read today?
Yes, well, just this last bit where he was unaware that that he obviously toiled over the statement, prepared it, felt good about it, sent it, and then they poached it.
It's such an interesting thing because I love the lawyering because Shah is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like to set him up where he's got to either commit to lying to the press to make something up, against his actual feelings, or he's got to be on board with what he said. And so he ended up going with integrity and saying that he believed in what he said. And now somebody's trying to fucking wiggle that away from him at the very same time. Pardon me, at the very same time that article is supposed to be being published, or that statement within the article. I think it's pretty amazing. Anyway, we're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to do another round. Do you have anything else do you want to do some chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
Was there anything in this reading today that stuck out to you?
That was it. That was the big spots. Again, look, I mean, I feel like he is somebody who is... No, I mean, that's basically it.
Hinata said that the questioning about whether he still had signal chats on his phone, it's just to show the jury that he's withholding documents he himself considers about the trial matter.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, I found that very interesting. The signal stuff ended up... I love that I questioned the foundation, and then the foundation just came to fruition.
Yeah. Deanne says, must disclose the notes. It is disclosable, Dale.
Yeah.
Exactly, and goes to the breach of disclosure requirements. His lawyers stopping questions because to answer would incriminate him.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Potato was like, I consider everything a crisis, right? Leave her a voicemail at 2 a.m.
Yeah. We'll get to that part.
Potato, when you were wondering about whether that was a quote, he says, no, I was making a joke. Assume everything I say is sarcastic unless indicated otherwise.
Yeah.
We love that about you, bro.
Yeah, you're funny.
I don't mean to misgender anybody, by the way. Everyone is unanimously a bro to me.
Yeah, we're all bros.
We're all bros.
Now, if you watch Survivor, you'll know that he doesn't do that anymore.
He doesn't know.
Come on, guys. It's over.
I know.
Come on in.
A group of people can't be guys. Come on. Are we even speaking English anymore?
Yeah.
Dime Beth says, if he can't handle this, he can't handle showbiz.
For real.
I can't handle showbiz. Almost all of my friends have been in show business, and I'm like, God, you guys are made of fucking tougher stuff than me.
Yeah, or you just getting battered around like I did.
Mm-hmm. No Two Trolls is laughing. Potato, the voice messages at 2 a.m. Potato says, watching a movie with me is insufferable or hilarious, depending. Dime Beth says, he's being fake to Stephanie Jones, something he accuses Ryan and Blake of doing. You made a point about that.
Yeah, I read that comment. It's that or so he I guess he's not being fake. I loved how he got back into that corner and he had to find a way out. I would love to see the video to see if it's like if he becomes visibly uncomfortable with the fact that he kind of boned himself there.
Yeah. Potato said Baldoni always bringing gender into it, but interestingly, that was Stephanie Jones that brought gender into it in the first place. She was like, would they say this about a man? But she said that exactly to Baldoni because she knew that she could. Yeah,
it's a part of his whole... I mean, that's the kind of conversation he provokes just by virtue of his public persona.
Deanne said he is so zen and yet a nasty, angry man and passive-aggressive.
Correct. Because it's a front. Everything's a front with this guy. It's all front. He creates fronts.
Yeah, Deanne said he's a snake oil guy.
Yeah, he's a snake oil guy. He knows what you want, and he provides that, and then he does what he wants.
Potato said, has anyone seen Portlandia? Baldoni would definitely be a character on that show.
That's funny. I have, and that's funny.
Also, I can't imagine having a conversation about gender with my coworkers.
No.
Maybe you just need to be in a men's group. Right? Time Beth says, like a men's group. Like, I don't get it. It's just so strange because, like, yes, you have your guy friends that you go and hang out with. And yes, girls have their girlfriends and they go do, like, girl stuff. We don't, like, give it names.
It's weird. It's just for me.
I mean, I guess if you grow up in like religious organizations, they always have that. They always name their groups.
It's like
youth group. There's small groups that, where you like do whatever.
Yes, exactly. Small group. Jerks. I made a movie about it. I've never been a part of any of the. Hey, I was in a dart league for a minute, and then they started dropping the N-word, and I was like, I gotta go.
Oh my god, I know. Dart leagues are different. You guys are coming together.
To play it's sport. It's like a bowling league.
But that was, that wasn't even a men's group.
Didn't people with the name Donald are bummed that they have the name Donald?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like now,
especially if they go by Donald.
It's like Karen and Donald are like the two most unwanted names.
Oh, I know. I knew a Karen growing up. I think about her sometimes.
Yeah, I knew a couple.
Unless
Karens.
she turned into a Karen, and then I'm like, suck it. Potato said that Justin Baldoni's a little diaper baby. And Otis said because he's a man child. Dimebeth said the same thing that you were when he started agreeing with the article. Oh, so now I agree with the article is what Justin is saying.
Yeah. Love that.
Hinata said, I don't think I ever called anyone so many names, but Baldoni seriously just rubs me the wrong way. I wonder what's inside this soft surface of a persona he created.
Yeah, I mean, if there was anything consistent about what he does and the fact that he doesn't actually read the articles or actually, endeavor to know.
He doesn't want to read anything, even if it involves him, that he admits. He's
just relying on these people, that he trusts, but it's bad.
I'm not going to spoil it because that comes later in the deposition. Potato wrote a quote, Mr. Baldoni, could you explain this photo of you with a rattle and a pacifier? That's my favorite.
That's fantastic. Oh, I wish we had an artist to make that for us.
Oh my God.
That's hilarious, dude.
Deanne said, it's weaponized incompetence. I keep saying, I don't know. I didn't read. I don't do the training.
That's not where, my expertise is. I'm an actor.
But he has a brain trust. Somehow. He doesn't know shit about anything, but he's got a whole team of people to help him think. Deanne said, brain trust, hive mind, brain fart. You get the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
Everyone's just dragging him. There's no way that anybody comes to our space here and thinks that we're not biased.
That we're neutral.
Yeah, that we're neutral.
No, we're not neutral.
Hey, I'm just reporting the facts.
That's right.
Because at this point, we all hate this dude.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't use hate as a strong, I wouldn't use the word hate to describe me in this situation or my feelings for him, but I think he's a fraud. I think that he brought this upon himself. I think that he avoids responsibility. We talked about this the other day, spiritual escape or whatever it's called, or spiritual, you called it.
No, it was spiritual bypassing.
Yeah, all that nonsense.
The reason why I said that word, and I'm just like, it's not like the kind of active word, like I don't intend to do anything about it, right? But the reason why I use that word is because, you don't send a message directing your publicist to invent a negative story that would ruin your co-star's reputation, right? Because you're a good person.
Yeah.
Right? So I believe that he deserves all the bad things that are happening to him and will continue to happen to him as a result of those behaviors.
Yeah.
And I very much dislike a person who behaves that way. I don't think that it's fucking reasonable to try and destroy somebody's reputation and using your fucking billionaire friend to marshal all of these like maniacs to do their worst against somebody who like you just had a few disagreements with. He could have completely moved on from all of this if he was like a normal, rational person. Completely.
This is all about, look, he's got two big problems that I think become very apparent throughout this case, which is the first is that he's not genuine. He is not genuine. He thinks he's genuine, but he's not genuine. You can't be the guy who runs the fucking Man Enough podcast and then dropping You Look Sexy on your set. And you can't be doing that after you've already had complaints lodged about the conduct on your set.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like Leonardo DiCaprio and the fucking environmentalist shit. You can't be an environmentalist and touring the world on fucking giant yachts. That's not how it goddamn works. Or taking private fucking jets to get on and private helicopters to get on those fucking yachts. He's not an environmentalist, and Justin Baldoni is not a feminist. And the problem is that Justin Baldoni tried to create himself as a feminist in order to create product and opportunity for himself. Garfield and fucking Angry Birds notwithstanding.
Hanada said exactly. Angela and Baldoni until this day is justifying what he did as I'm a good person and I got scared and I was hurt.
Exactly, and I my reaction is appropriate to my and commensurate to the the pain I felt or the fear I felt or the embarrassment I felt. And, which is, by the way, an admission of retaliation.
Yes, I know.
That is an admission of retaliation. I don't give a shit if you say, oh, you hurt my feelings and that's why. Well, okay. That's why you what?
Right.
You retaliated. It's like that person who was trying to tell me that Justin Baldoni wasn't pretending to say that he talked to her dad when he said that he prayed to her dad to bless the film. I was like, well, who was he fucking praying to? If it's not to the person he said he's praying to.
It's just really weird behavior.
I don't give a fuck if it's a one-side conversation. It's still a conversation, bub.
You buddy. Potato gets the final word because this is hilarious.
Okay.
I was saying about how there's nobody that could come to our channel now and think that we're not biased.
Yeah.
And Potato said, well, yeah, if both sides being he sucks and he really sucks. Thanks, Kiki. Kiki said you guys nailed it. We'll be back tomorrow.
We're back tomorrow. We're gonna keep reading this thing until we get it read through because this guy's it's her and Blake Lively's that I think we should not miss a word of if we can.
Yeah, I want to get it all down for sure.
Those are the two, main fucking and listen, I don't know, Alex Sachs, like I want that whole depot. I want that whole depot because there's a 22 movie veteran producer on that set. So that's, people will be like, oh, Justin Baldoni, their entire, like he hasn't had anywhere near any of that production experience as Alex Sachs has.
He's not going to get it. He's not going to get it now.
Apparently he's definitely getting cut short of that. You guys are the greatest. We love hanging out with you. We'll be back again tomorrow night. We are going to read this shit until it's read.
Yep.
Angela's going to read this shit until it's read. Mm-hmm. You're such a fucking trooper. You're so amazing. Thank you for doing that for all of us. I know there are some people.
Not some sacrifice.
I know there's some people who are going to be like throwing it in there and whatever, listening it on the drive so they can get all this depot and not have to read it themselves.
Yeah, right.
So you're doing a service.
Yep.
You're a good person, and I'm really proud to know you, and even more proud to be your husband. All right, you guys are wonderful. I'm proud to be your friend online. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Good night.
Good night.